The character that I'm playing in this particular piece is Alexander Goriantchikov. And he's a political prisoner, and he's been brought to this prison because of his ideas obviously were not so popular. And there he is. He doesn't know why he's there, protesting being there, but he has no choice really. But interestingly in the piece, he's the only one that you see arriving as a prisoner, and he's the only one that you see being released. It's hard musically because I feel very clearly that Janacek tried to depict the stress, the difficulties, the juxtapositioning of various stories that are going on simultaneously in the prison situation, because every man is about himself and trying to survive. So the music mixes that emotional composition quite well, very well. And it's extraordinary how Janacek jumps from one moment, one thought, one feeling very quickly to the next. But referring always to some theme going on. And it's, yes, that's a part of the complexity of the whole piece. I said there's a surprise of being in this situation and immediately entering, having to be thrown down on the floor, possibly to be beaten, and I don't know what's coming next. My clothes are ripped from me, and my hair is cut, and all sorts of strange things being forced upon me character-wise, and at a certain point I have to crawl on my knees because I'd been beaten before to a bloody state. And to reflect that in the acting is very challenging, but I enjoy the challenge. I think it definitely has a lot to do with Patrice Chéreau's direction, his incisive way of seeing things. When I worked with him, I was so impressed by his attention to detail. Every 5 centimeters or less he is aware of. He's aware of every space on the stage, and it's used deliberately to depict the pain, to depict the quest for even pleasure. In the pantomime, for example, that is presented, it's the depraved pleasure that these men, incarcerated as they have been for such a long time, that the animalistic attitude is shown. And there is still a quest, there's a hope somewhere for some joy, some release, so it's a strong mixture imposed and directed by him, suggested by the music and also by the text. I remember there was one very tricky, almost innocuous sounding phrase that I didn't sing in a rehearsal, and he came up to me and he said, "I missed that phrase," because he knew the whole text. And it was such a pleasure to do what he requested, because his ideas were so clear and meaningful, and so to enact what he wanted, and he never superimposed anything that he thought that you couldn't do. It was always within your scope and a little bit further than you, so you learn also at the same time. I think the production is hopeful for humanity because it is very important for us to see atrocities being presented in an art form on stage, so that we could actually possibly choose to change our way of looking at things, our way of judging others, because sometimes we might wind up being judged and being in the situation of being the one being aggressed. And so for me, art, theater, opera does that, and it's a very important role that I feel I'm privileged to be able to express this, to express as authentically. It's impossible to do it authentically because it's a recreation, but for me it's important to enact as sincerely as possible, so that the atrocities, the love, the quest, the fear can be seen and understood in the privacy of a theater. I prefer many times to throw myself into the situation as if it's a new experience for me and a discovery, because sometimes reading about the stuff before can actually slant you to a false demonstration of your feelings, of your character. So I respond to the music, to the moment, to the suggestion or the direction of the director, and then I have my life history behind me, my longings, my fears, my wishing to be seen, to be heard. All of those things combine to, in every moment, to create an impression of being alive and experiencing a moment anew.